All right, here we are in another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies. And we are on episode number 308, Peter. How are you this morning?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Good. So the title of today's podcast is How to Hit Financial Targets Using Creative Real Estate with Confidence and Certainty.
Mm-hmm.
The description goes like this. Do you actually know the number one reason people don't get what they want? Or how they can thrive in a turbulent economy like right now? Why do you create financial targets or other objectives and not reach them with confidence and certainty? If our success is measured from our results, why are we falling short with the destination we need or want? More important, how do you handle setbacks when on your journey for specific outcomes you desire that don't go as planned? In this unique podcast, we will talk about how you can accept any challenge and come out winning with accomplishment that more than satisfies your needs and wants with confidence. Eliminate procrastination and loss and embrace your dreams to a full done. And it is not as hard as you imagined. No matter how difficult it was in the past, the great news is you still have time, and this single conversation will help take the ball and chain off your failures and lunge you forward for preferred benefits and consistency using creative real estate transactions so you can live a new, powerful life as you wish it to be.
Man, them some pretty fancy words there, Mr. Hawthorne.
I was thinking when I was reading that, I wonder who wrote this.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty fancy. You don't talk like that when we're on the road smoking seagulls. Good job.
Telling my secrets, huh? All right, good. So first of all, let's go through welcome Cashflow Johnny. He's
Yo,
here
Johnny.
with us. He's here with us. He says, as he always does, hello, real estate freaks. Yeah. So just kind of do a little bit of housework here. If you're listening to us or wherever you are listening to us, whether it be YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or on a podcast platform, please subscribe to us or like us. Also, if you go to flippinghousesforrookies.com, that's our website. You can do many things there, including getting free stuff, and you can send a support ticket to me directly, and I will respond. I do them personally. You can also see or hear all the podcasts there. You can sort them as topic, whatever topic you want. And in the description of wherever you're watching or listening to this podcast, there's a link in there. And I will tell you that I, little old me, has decided that I have the capability of dominating YouTube.
Really?
So what I've done in part of that process is I put together a new 10-part series on creative real estate.
Nice.
And the link in the chat is the first time I have revealed that link. So if you go into the I'm saying in the chat, but into the description of wherever you're watching us or hearing us, you can get that 10-part series. And it's incredible how I walk you through the process. Okay.
Cool. Yeah, I think did I see something like that about that in one of your emails? I thought I saw something.
I've been taught. Well, I had the meetup last night, and I talked about releasing it last night, but I couldn't get the webpage done, so I didn't give the link out yet.
Okay.
So it is a brand new thing. So it's in the chat. I keep saying the chat, the description. So if you're on YouTube or in Facebook or on Twitter, the link is there. Or you can just pay attention to emails, because over the next week or so, I'll be releasing it on my email list. Okay. Which, by the
Sounds
way,
good.
if you're not on my email list, you should be, because I give a lot of stuff away there. Okay. More importantly, every Thursday morning, 9:30 a.m., we record this podcast with a live stream. So we are on Facebook, we are on YouTube, and we are on Twitter. So if you go to any one of those platforms and just type in Flipping Houses for Rookies, and while we are recording, which is usually for about an hour between 9:30 and 10:30, you can send us a message in the comment section or in whatever box that platform allows you, and it comes right to me while we're recording. So we'll answer questions as long as they're pertaining to the subject we're talking about. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So here we go, Peter.
Okay, take it away. Now what?
Believe it or not, Pete,
Yeah.
I believe this podcast will be so important to our listeners' success, I'm going to forego any fluff and jump right in.
Good one.
There are several major points I want to cover, so I advise taking notes and listening a few times to get it all. Now, we've talked about this many times prior to this podcast. Simplicity or obvious, what you think you've heard before, and I just reworded it like a way that you never heard it before, is a symptom of, I think I already know this, and you won't take advantage of it.
Yeah.
So if you are listening to us today and you're like, I already knew that, and Bill's just articulating it or wording it a little bit different, it's because we're probably giving you natural laws, things that automatically happen in any transaction or in the universe, and you might have noticed it, but you've never put importance on why and what it's doing.
Mm-hmm.
So don't short yourself by thinking that this information is too simple. I have not invented this stuff, what I'm going to go over with you. There are many, many, many books, as you probably are aware. I read quite a bit. So this is a compilation of many different philosophers and authors that I've accumulated this information and practiced it and use it almost daily in my business. Okay. So first,
my comment on that, because I'm with you a lot, and I've been at every podcast except for a few on vacation, of course, and things. But it's not so much just the raw data; it's looking at it from different perspectives.
And how you
but
use
most
it.
Importantly, exactly. Yeah, my point is, how do you use it? And it's not just here's a hammer, hit the nail. There's a lot to understand. If you get a real basic principle, it stretches out, and you can probably find more and more ways. I've been playing guitar for 50 years. I keep finding things to do. It's ridiculous. Yep. So I for one, I'm going to listen to you today.
Okay, good. And realize the simple things last the longest.
Well, they're the stable, real things,
Yeah. They're the building blocks.
Exactly.
All right. So first, let's talk about developing unusual clarity for any task, goal, or objective outcome.
Okay.
Unusual clarity. And the weird part of this is it only takes about 5 minutes to do this. And I'm not sure why most people don't do this, but once a day, you could do this for 5 minutes. Or like me, you could do it multiple times a day.
Yeah.
Eventually, you'll notice that this activity of turning into more than just 5 minutes will turn into more than 5 minutes and will impact your life immensely. Because what will happen is you'll start getting results and you'll be like, son of a gun, that worked. And you'll want to do it again. So the way I do this is I turn on my TV set in my mind. And I watch it. Funny thing is, we all are watching this TV at every minute of every life.
You're just watching what's playing at the moment?
So I'm going to divert for a second because what is his name? Oh my God. I just went blank. The E-Myth.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot his name.
Yeah, I know the material, not the guy though.
Oh my God, I just went blank on his name. Gerber. Michael Gerber.
Okay.
he speaks about in that book, which by the way is probably 20 years old at this point, if not more. He speaks in that book about how there's different types of people. You have the entrepreneur or the owner, you have the manager, and you have the employee.
Yep.
The entrepreneur thinks in the future. The manager thinks in present time, and the employee thinks in the past. So when I say think, this is what I'm talking about. Which channel do you have turned on your TV set?
Yeah. So the future would be sci-fi. The present would be like a crime drama. And the past would be a history channel. Which, sorry. See, my TV's working.
There you go.
So keep going.
Seamus says, Bill, thanks again for your time and all the great value you give us. I'm learning a lot, and thank you for getting the tools and start making deals and communicating with potential sellers. You're very welcome. He was on the meetup last night, so I think that's so I thought it was Seamus, but I think it's Seamus.
Seamus? Yeah, I think Seamus. I believe it's Irish, isn't it? Seamus.
I would think, yeah.
I think it's Irish, yes.
All right, so the thing that is interesting is if you consciously watch this TV in your head, playing these movies, or whatever you want to call them, sometimes they're sitcoms, you'll be amazed at what happens. So the difference for me, like I said, is what channel have you selected to watch? One that has already been playing, or a TV show mocked up by you that you invented? See, when you're looking at these pictures, you don't know the difference. Are they your imagination? Are they the present time, like the environment you're in right now, and you're just observing the environment? Or are they the past?
Yeah, when you first said watching the TV in your head, my first thought was, is that the stuff that's coming at you? Or is that the stuff you're putting there? Like you creating your own destiny, your own show, making your own scene, or you're just getting swept along watching with everybody else? That's my first thought. It's almost like, are you watching it, or is it watching you? It's one of those type of things, right?
Well, the saying that we usually talk about is one is you're living life. That's where you're like you're making your own movie and you're designing it, and you're the author of your own universe. And the other is life is living you, where you have, and the only difference between the two, Peter, it's taken me a long time to figure this out. So are you living life, or is life living you? Yeah. There's only one difference, one thing that will switch those drastically.
And that is?
Goals.
I'll agree on that.
A destination.
Yeah.
A mission, a passion, a belief, a reason. All of those words work simultaneously and individually. So the difference between are you living life and is life living you is a goal and a purpose. Actually, purpose is more important than the goal. A lot of people talk about the goal, but it's the reason why that matters. That's the jet fuel that moves your life one way or the other.
Yeah, that's interesting, but you're right.
So, and it's also the difference between cause and effect.
Yep.
Right. So cause is, this is what I'm going to get by this date, and here's how I'm going to get it. Now, a lot of philosophers, and I've not made this up, I've just used it and had so much success. And this is where I talk about having unusual clarity. I'm not actually talking about affirmations. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm not talking about using force. I'm not talking about what ifs. I mean, I'm just talking about, like, this is what I want, and I can see it. You know, I can see it. Like, I want to have 39 coaching clients by the end of the month, and that's it. And then I don't put on it afterwards, because you have to be careful, because when you're watching these movies, you might look at them and say, if I could do this and if I could do that. Like I'll get 39 coaching clients by the end of the month if I get my YouTube station up and running. No. You just put there, I want 39 clients. And then I play a game with myself and I think to myself, I wonder how I'm going to pull that off. This is fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And just leave it there. And I just park it and forget about it. I don't think about it again until the next time I run the movie, either later that day or the next morning. Right. One of the things that I do that is very, I don't do it every night because sometimes I forget.
Mm.
But when we talked about a few podcasts, I think it was podcast number 293 and 294. It was about the who and the how, right?
Yeah.
Which I'm going to go over that in a minute. But one of the things that I recognize that I did is I would set my goals, and then I would measure my success up against the goal I was heading for. Right. So if I say, suppose I had 25 coaching clients and I wanted 39.
Mm-hmm.
So I would look at, okay, I want 39 coaching clients. And then when I get to the end of the month, I'd look at, well, I only got 35 coaching clients. I didn't do well. And I invalidate the success. Instead of looking at, wow, I went from 25 to 35. I picked up 10 new coaching clients.
Right.
Right. So
you got to focus on the success.
So exactly right. And here's the point. The point is that the future is a moving target. Because I'll say 39 and then I'll change it to 37 or 43 or whatever because of some financial whatever, right? Sure. So that's a moving target. It's like a horizon that never gets. I mean, when you're on the ocean, you never get to the horizon. There's always a horizon, right? So what I do when I lay down at night is I say to myself, what are 3 things I'm grateful for? I'm grateful I got 2 coaching clients today. I'm grateful I got this. And it gives you more confidence and security. Like, I'm grateful I called 1 seller today. Oh my goodness, I'm getting there. Mm-hmm. I'm grateful I called 3 sellers today and this one told me to go F off and now I know what to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a good idea. You've said that before. I don't think I've done it. I want to try to remember to try that tonight.
Seamus says, like you told us a while back, where your attention goes, energies flow. Yeah, my saying is where your attentions go, energies flow, results show.
Yeah.
All right. So this is the difference of watching movies from your past or your future. The past is the TV station already running in your head. The future is using your imagination to create what you want in finite detail. All right. So before we move on, as a common human being, I want you to know this. As an average human being, which, by the way, everybody's average. There's nobody like better or smarter or dumber or anything than anybody else. It's just all it is the amount of effort that they use to get what they want. That's the difference between the supposedly successful ones and the supposedly not successful ones. And oh yeah, by the way, when I say successful, I don't mean that you're Donald Trump, the real estate entrepreneur that owns a lot of property. You could be, no disrespect to you, Peter, but you could be like you and have a music business and teaching people how to play guitar and be just as happy as Donald and think you're just as successful as Donald Trump because that's what you want, right? Yeah,
I think the real definition of success is if you accomplish what you wanted to.
Yeah. Well, my definition of success is doing more of the right things than the wrong things.
Mm-hmm. That's how you get there.
And I'm going to go over this later. Well, anyways, I'll just do that. So you have, so here as a human being, I want you to know this. Hear me loud and clear. This may seem like it's too simple, but I'm going to tell you that it's not this way. You don't think this. And I'm going to clarify it so you can mull on this for the next couple days because you're going to realize how strong this advice is.
Okay.
You have the ability to control your thoughts. But because your mind came for free at birth, you don't value it enough. It's just there. It's like I was watching a TV commercial. I forgot which one it is, but it's the little girl. I think it's a Chevy commercial.
Mm-hmm.
And the little girl asks what the future is, and he kind of answers like this kind of bogus answer because they tie it into how the car drives. And then just before the commercial ends, she goes, "Dad," she goes, "Yeah, do fish drink water?" Right? So it's kind of like that. It's like an obvious question. They're in water. Do they drink water?
Yeah.
Right. So this is one of those things. Like, you have a mind. Do you use it as like you go to the gym to work on your muscles, your arm muscles and your back muscles and your leg
Mm-hmm.
muscles and whatever else,
Mm-hmm.
and you work on them and develop them? Do you work on your mind, or do you take it for granted? Did you know you can control your thoughts? Did you know? I mean, I'll be driving down the road and I got a cigar and I'll be like swatting, "Get out of here, get!" And there are pictures that are coming in my head, and I'm like, "Oh, no! I don't want to get away from me!"
Yeah, right.
And I'll swat the pictures. Right?
Yeah.
I think I told you one time I have a Yosemite. What is his name?
Yosemite Sam?
Yeah, he's in. I have him, and he's got this big machine gun, and he's got a belt on with all this munitions. Hand grenades and bullets and guns, and he blows up pictures for me.
Wow.
And I got to tell you, that sounds like it's ridiculous. But when I have something that pops in my mind, I'm like, "Oh my God, what if that deal blows up?" And I get Yosemite out, and he blows up all the pictures, because the pictures are like glass. They're like TVs, faces of TVs. And he blows them up, and I watch them shatter, and they go away. I mean, it sounds crazy, but it's I do this.
Well, if you leave them there, they're gonna haunt you, and they're gonna warp your mind.
Right.
You're gonna start believing them.
The point is I don't leave them there and let them sink into my subconscious mind. See, my subconscious mind is below my awareness.
Mm-hmm.
So the subconscious mind is there working against me when I don't know it. That's the game I'm playing with myself. Like I tell myself, survive, when all I have to do is just survive. I think I'm not going to survive, so I tell myself I have to survive.
Yeah.
But I'm going to survive just fine. But I tell myself maybe I won't.
Yeah, we're still here, right?
Yeah.
You were like, what if? And no matter what happens, we're still here. So what's the worst that's going to happen? You're still here, still eating, still driving around, still going to sleep at night.
So this is all correct. And again, I mean, I know I'm very profound today, but it's so simple. I want you to try this. So watch the movie in your mind and then ask yourself, what channel am I on?
Mm.
Am I in the future? Am I in present time, in the past? Right? Which, by the way, the future is the only place to be, because present time and the past there's not much you can do with those. The future is what's going to make the difference for you.
Yeah. You know what I found, though? I read this probably in Dianetics, which you talked about. It's called the lesson of the mind. And the lesson of the mind is what has happened will happen.
Yep.
Which is bad, because that didn't work, that was bad, it's going to happen again. Yikes. If you've had a few bad things happen, we all have. Yep. You think it's going to happen again, you got to let that go and just wipe the slate clean. And today doesn't have to be like yesterday. It can be better. Do it.
So you're right, because Dianetics is really good with the past stuff, like why it's there and how it affects you.
Yeah.
Maxwell Maltz's book, Psycho-Cybernetics, is really good with the future and how you control those pictures.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I refer those two books all the time, because Maxwell Maltz does a really good job of this. I haven't, in fact, I was thinking the other day, I have to find it because I have so many books. I have to find it, and I'd like to reread it again. They're both dynamite books.
Well, that makes sense the way you put it, because I haven't read the Maxwell book, but I've seen people try to do the future with being plagued by the past.
Yeah,
I see people trying to get rid of the past, but you got to put the future there. You need them both. Get rid of the past, do the future. That makes a lot of sense.
Good. So let's move on to the next point.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Which I don't want to like leave this last point without bringing clarity to it, because I'm telling you, this is amazing when you figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
You have the ability to control your thoughts. Just think about that. The next couple days when you're driving down the road and you're like, what am I thinking about? Are you thinking about driving the car or something else? When you're in the shower, are you thinking about showering or something else? Which, by the way, there was a survey done, a national survey. What do most people think about when they're in the shower?
I don't know what.
A to-do list. What they're going to do that day.
Yeah.
It's surveyed, okay?
That's funny.
Okay. All right,
That's
so
funny.
the next point. This is not hocus pocus stuff. It's all about focus. Building on your strengths, not your weaknesses. Now, I'm going to tell you, Peter, that you might think, or the listener might think, that right now I am helping them. This podcast is helping them.
Yeah.
And although that may be true, I'm here to tell you that I actually did this podcast for you and me.
Oh, really? Thanks.
We just spent 5 days in a seminar, and I was not happy. It was not what I would consider a good seminar, and it bothered me. And now I resolved to it. And here is what I can. This podcast is a result of that seminar.
Mm-hmm.
Here is my weakness. This is Bill's weakness. It's 100% my ruin in life.
Wow.
I don't stay focused long enough. I switch too quick. I try something for a month or two, and if it doesn't work, I switch it. Used to be 2 weeks. At least now I've got it up to a month or two. But I read too much. I get too many ideas, and I'm an idea jumper. So when I hear something and I like it, I just implement it. I don't think about it. I don't worry about it. I just down outright try it.
Yeah.
Right? So building on your strengths, not your weaknesses, with focus. So I have to stay more focused. And I write these things, like I wrote you just the beginning of the week, I wrote you a document, a program, a 3-month program of what we're doing. And the biggest problem I have with is people like you that are around me allow me to go off and do something else and not keep me focused.
That's funny.
And that's my weakness. Okay. But I do have the ability to focus. The good thing with me, the good side of it, the pro side, that's the con side. The pro side of it with me is that I implement quick. So what happens is I don't have to stay focused on something for very long, because I jump right in and just do it. Right. So for a very long time, like I have bought tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars of online, how to make money online courses. Right. Which is why all my stuff is online. And I don't feel like I feel like I'm such an amateur. I'm such a rookie in that industry. Although I'm doing it, I feel like I'm such a rookie. And part of the reason is because I don't stay focused long enough. But when I'm buying those courses, I have a rule. If I can't implement it in the next 2 weeks, don't buy it. Like if my schedule, like we're going away on a seminar, I'm going to be gone for a week, I can't implement it, then I just won't buy it. Because that's my attention span. And I've worked on that and I've gotten better with it. So this focus thing works, especially if you focus on natural talents. Right? You get wins from them because they're natural. So if you're, whatever your natural talents are, if you focus on those first, you'll start to get wins. And because you're getting wins, you'll build morale, because production is the basis of morale. So you'll start producing and start getting morale, and you'll start feeling better about yourself as you go along. So focus on, so the first thing we talked about is the moving in your head and what you're watching and what you're paying attention to, and stay focused on that. So you're like extending it. Like, so you watch the movie. I mean, how many times have you gone to a movie theater and watched some movie, good or bad, and it's stuck in your head for a couple days?
Sure.
Right? That this is what we're talking about is that type of an effect.
Mm.
Right? Except the difference is we created the movie and we stay focused on it. And you'll be amazed that when you do that, all of a sudden things will just start showing up in your world. Like you'll be in the grocery store checking out, and somebody will introduce themselves and tell you that they got $1 million to lend you for real estate. I mean, I'm being facetious, but things like that happen.
Yep.
I mean, they just show up in the most damnedest places.
Well, I saw a feed come through my Facebook that I never saw before about like a local real estate group that has private lenders, and here's the website. Go talk to them. Go have a conversation. Like, oh, and I've how long have I been on Facebook? I've been on Facebook a long time, but that never appeared till after we went to the
So
seminar.
we just went to a seminar and we got a program where we're raising more funds because I want to change my model a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So if you learn to separate and this is another important part. So you're focusing on your natural talents and you're doing them and you're moving along and you're getting wins because production is the basis of morale. So your morale is up. Now listen to this. Now listen to this next statement. If you learn to separate the major thoughts from your minor thoughts, you'll notice significant and immediate change.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, too many folks don't do well because they major in minor thoughts.
That's funny.
Or things to do.
So you're saying it's better to minor in major thoughts than to major in minor thoughts?
There you go.
Jeez.
So which movie are they watching? Are they watching the movie like they enjoy learning? They're a do-it-yourselfer and they feel like they're successful or they're satisfied with just the process of learning? Is your ego that big that you have to feed it and say, look, I did it on my own? Because that's what it is. Right? Or can you receive help? Can you allow someone, the who, to do it for you? Like who can do this for me? Instead of how can I do this? Right? The entrepreneur's dilemma. You have a great idea. You visualize it. Totally see how you can make a lot of money with it. Or have success with it. You totally believe it. The entrepreneur starts off by wearing many hats, trying to learn everything. Hats meaning, like right now I'm a plumber, so I have a plumber hat on and I just do plumber things. Or I'm an electrician and I put on an electrician hat. I just work with electricity. You wouldn't want to wear a plumber's hat while working on electricity.
No.
Okay. So you're doing what you're doing while you're doing it. That's what a hat is, right? This entrepreneur starts off by wearing many hats, trying to learn everything, especially in the first year. Putting in long days and nights with not much time for relaxing. So I'll tell you from my experience, my best ideas and my best thoughts are like when I'm with my wife on the beach. Or I take my wife out for dinner and we're walking in a mall or something like that, and I'm totally relaxed and I'm like, holy shit, and it pops in. I could work on a problem for a month, like grind it out, search on the internet, do this, do that, all this stuff, like 10 hours a day, work on this problem.
Yeah, a lot of hard work, right?
And not solve it. And then I can decide, you know what? I'm exhausted. I'm taking the weekend off. I'll say to my wife, let's go do blah, blah, blah. We'll go to dinner with you. We'll go, whatever we do. We'll go to the movies. And I'm totally like not thinking of work. And all of a sudden, boop, it pops right in. Or I'll see something, I'll see something like I'll be in a movie and I'll hear a sentence and I'll be like, oh my God. Or I'll be in a gift shop and see something in a gift shop and I'll be like, you got to be kidding me. Yeah. Or we'll be in a grocery store or whatever, we'll be driving down the road and I'll see a billboard, just whatever. It will just trigger the solution because I'm relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So this entrepreneur, the first year is killing it, but never gives himself to, he's working against himself by not letting his mind relax, not letting his rejuvenation work. When you go to bed at night, that's what's happening, right? Your body is rejuvenating from the day.
And your mind too. Relax. Let it rest.
So if you don't allow that, it won't work, right? So, but you do this as an entrepreneur the first year because it's an exciting time. You're learning and you're putting things and deals together, developing some good and some bad habits along the way, and don't even know it. Gradually, this entrepreneur becomes too involved in the day-to-day operations and often lacks on the administrative stuff. Right? I'm battling with this right now. I have to take my own advice because I'm too involved in the day-to-day stuff.
Yeah.
Right? So, and that happened to me when Emma left. She went and got her job, which is some time ago, and I just didn't hire another virtual assistant. Actually, a personal assistant is what I need. I didn't hire someone. And here's what's happened is I thought, well, I really don't have the money. Well, what happened is it lowered my necessity level, and now I don't have the money. It just keeps shrinking and shrinking and shrinking because I can't get the work done. I'm having trouble getting the work done, and I had no chance to relax. Right? I mean, just look what I had to go through last week to go away for 5 days. It takes me 5 days to ramp up and 5 days to ramp down. Just to do a 5-day trip, right? So what you should do, if you're listening now, is go to podcast number 293 and 294. And we talk about, I think his name is Dan Sullivan, and I forgot the other guy's name. Oh my goodness, I should have wrote it down. The book's right there. Anyways, it's who, not how. And we talked about from that book, which is a great book. It's called Who, Not How, from Dan Sullivan. It talks about if you say to yourself, how can I do this? Like, suppose you want to do real estate. You want to do creative real estate. Like, how can I do this? Let's break it down. Let's say how can I talk to sellers?
Right.
And you by saying, how can I do this? What you're doing is making more and more work for yourself. Because now you're off on some tangent. You went down some rabbit hole, and it might take you a year to figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
Where what you really should do is you should really say, who can do this for me? And it changes the whole aspect of how you get started. Like right now, I'm in the middle of, I didn't tell you this yet, but I've negotiated, like, we're going to become partners with a software company. And I think the part of it that it was working is that I have my talent and there's 4 people involved, and 4 people have 4 different talents. And they're 4 talents that we need. It's like marketing, content, support, and then all the technical stuff. It's like those are the 4 points we need, and they're symbiotic. I mean, they come together nicely and work together well.
And we help each other.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And that's finding the who. Right? So I could completely change my schedule if I don't have to do all the marketing and I don't have to do all that kind of stuff, then, which I'm good at, but I just that's where I spend a lot of my time instead of just teaching and doing deals.
Yeah.
Right. So I can change that. Right. So podcast episode 293 and 294 go over that in great detail. I'm not going to cover that now. More important, the TV channel playing in your head is all about the past, the present, not the future, like originally intended. So here's what happens. This entrepreneur starts, he gets this idea, right? That this is going to really work. He's going to make a lot of money. It's going to be successful. He's going to get his satisfaction, whether his satisfaction might be money, it might be, fame, it might be, I don't know, his family, whatever it is, he sees that satisfaction, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he goes in and he starts doing it, and he does the day-to-day stuff, and he's all down in the minutia. And so what does that do to the TV in his head? What does that do with the movie projector in his head? It changes it, right? Because now what he's doing is he's watching movies on how he could solve this problem that he could actually hire somebody to do for $10. Yeah. Right? Like so many of my coaching clients, I'll see them do something. It's like, dude, just go on Fiverr for like $20. They'll do that for you. Like sorting a grand list for out of area owners. They're trying to learn how to use Excel. Yeah. Microsoft Excel. They're trying to learn, and they'll spend a week trying to learn how to use Microsoft Excel. It's like, dude, just go give it to somebody for $10. They'll do it for you. Why are you doing that? Right? That's right. So what happens is when you get stuck in this day-to-day grind, the movie you're playing in your head changes. The problem changes. You lose focus of the outcome. You have too many distractions, and the movie's not playing.
Well, you said before there's like a few people, even if it's just you still have a business. It's like an organization, even if it's just you. And that's a lot to do, one person. And it started with somebody having the idea and the dream. If you're all the way bottom sweeping the floor, you're not thinking about the dream. You're thinking about where's the dustpan for this stuff. Right. And you're losing the focus on the real purpose, which keeps driving things, not just sweeping the floor or taking care of the Excel spreadsheet, sorting the names on addresses.
There's this weirdest thing in our economy. It's the weirdest thing in the world. Yeah. The best, what a top paid executives get paid for. Why do they make millions of dollars? They get paid for making decisions. Yep. What are they mocked the most for? Well, why do they get paid so much to make a decision? I could do that. Well, yeah. No, you can't, because you're not there doing what they're doing. You're not in their shoes. I mean, when you work for Ford Motor Company and you got 30,000 employees and you have to make a decision, that's going to be a whole different decision than being a carpenter and having 3 employees. Yep. It's a whole different realm of think, right? So it's like this catch can thing, like the executive's most important job is to make decisions. But what he's mocked the most for or made fun of the most for is all he does is make a decision. He gets paid all that money. Yeah. In truth, what's really happening is the decisions are bounced up against the movie that the CEO is playing in his head. And he's looking at where do we need to end up? And how does this affect or hinder the motion of getting there? Right? Like Ford Motor Company might make a decision that we're no longer going to make alternators or starters. We're going to ship them out. So yeah, you may have to lay off 1,000 people because of that. Wow. Right? But in the end, you're going to realize, well, we're really doing the executives thinking we're really doing this because actually in 5 years from now, we're going to be doing electric cars and we're going to have alternators and starters anymore anyways. But you don't know that because he's 5 years ahead of you thinking about where we're going to be, because he's thinking about making electric cars. And we're not going to need an alternator and a starter.
Well, the higher up you go in any organization, the further your time span is. You're looking at bigger lengths of time, not just this week or next week. It's long term. And they've come up, Ford's come up with Mustang, good job. Yeah. Edsel, bad job. Right. Wrong decision, and there goes a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I never understood the car manufacturers because they could save a lot of hassles and a lot of money if they just surveyed their drivers, and they don't. So, anyways, the focus on the desired outcome gets lost when you get involved in the day-to-day minutia. It's very hard to keep that movie playing in your head, right? He or she, the executive, is not constantly putting it there, constantly playing the movie, constantly looking at the clarity. There are too many distractions. I can't make the Zoom call with you. I got one Zoom call. I pay $97 a month with it for you, Bill. I can't make that Zoom call tonight because my daughter, husband couldn't get home from work and I got to babysit.
Yee.
There's one call a month, $97 you pay for, one call a month. And right away, you're looking for an unusual solution like, can I get the replay? That is not what you should be doing. You need to focus on what's going to get you your goal. And you need to make decisions based on or not based on that. And you need to make sure you stay focused and clear about what your intentions are. You are in control of those ideas and pictures. You are in control of your destiny. I can tell you right now, having been in thousands of houses, this is a very simple statement, but very profound. You can tell where somebody's mind is at by the environment they live in.
Oh, yeah.
Is it messy and disorganized? Is it overly neat, like too neat and too clean? Or is it somewhere in the middle?
Yep.
But that is a manifestation of where somebody's mind is at. For example, there's stuff all over the place. That means that their mind is dispersed. The movie they're watching is not a collective, clear picture of a mission that they want. It's too fuzzy.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, the reason why I'm so adamant about this and why I'm pounding this and beating this to death is I'm not going to name names. I have coaching clients that get on the phone with sellers, and because they don't have a clear picture of what they want to do, it doesn't go well. To the point where we had a coaching client on Monday night. He was telling me about this deal. Like, give me her number. Let's call her. And what happened? What happened?
Yeah. Well, she wasn't very happy. You got on the phone and she's complaining a lot.
She was talking about, right.
She was confused.
So what happened is because the coaching client wasn't clear in their own mind what they wanted, they were bouncing around and confusing. Well, we could do this. We could do lease option, or we could do subject to, or we could do owner financing. And they kept bouncing around because they themselves did not have a clear picture of what to do with that seller. Which is why lately, for the last couple months, I keep saying there's only 4 things you need to do with a seller. You need to get the price, the payment, the duration, and the deposit money or deposit amount. And you need to know why each one of those decisions were made. Why did you pick that price? Why are you willing to take a payment or not take a payment? And why, how much? Why are you willing to go 5 years or 10 years or not go 5 years or 10 years? And why do you need the down payment money? Right, that's all your discoveries. Yeah. I've stopped writing scripts. I stopped doing all that because it's too hard. Because what happens is if you keep those 4 simple things posted in your mind, like, this is what I'm going to do when you pick up the phone and you call the seller, I'm going to do these 4 things, and I'm not going to get off the phone until I get all 4 things done. And it becomes simple.
But I like the way you bundle it. Before, we would try to do a lot of discovery in the very beginning. So you got somebody you don't know, and you're asking them a lot of questions, like, why are you asking me that? And they don't want to answer. It's annoying to them. But when you ask them like a real question, like, how much do you want for the house? And then you do some discovery or some why. What do you need it for? How'd you figure that out? And when did you decide to sell? Why? You find out what they're doing. But at least it's related to something that's on topic for them. It makes really a lot more sense to do it that way.
And I only figure these things out because in the coaching group now, 3 times a week, I do 60 to 90-minute live calls where I actually go on my REI Replace account and I get sellers and I actually call them in front of whoever's on the Zoom call. Sometimes there's 2 people, sometimes there's 8 people on there. But I do my live calls right in front of them.
Yeah.
And they learn a lot from it. All right. So let's move on. This distraction of the day-to-day stuff that disarms or shuts the movie projector off or changes the channel, changes the TV channel. Mm-hmm. This is the most dangerous and vulnerable part that causes most failure, right? Because the entrepreneur got wrapped up in the day-to-day minutia, stopped watching his or her movie of where to go, and he or she lost balance or loses sight of the next step. And the whole original plan derails. So many times I'll have a coaching client say, I just spoke to this person, they're really motivated, and I'm going to make 30 grand, and I'm going to pay this, and I'm going to do that. And they jump so far ahead. And my style of coaching, which has been extremely successful for me, is, okay, so you spoke to the customer. What did they say? What is the price? What is the payment? What is the deposit? What is the duration, or the duration and deposit? Mm-hmm. Once we get those numbers, we can then say, what's the next step? Which, by the way, the next step, once you get those numbers, is to do the loan value ratio and see what kind of deals you can even offer them based on my 7 deal strategy. Mm-hmm. And we actually have a worksheet that does this for you. You just fill out the worksheet. And the most amazing thing with this worksheet, which you brought up, is the first box, or the top box, is what they're willing to do.
Yep.
The bottom box is how much you could sell for. The box in the middle is somewhere in between what they're willing to sell for and what you can sell, what the seller's willing to do and what you can sell for. Somewhere in the middle is your offer.
Yep.
Right? And that's what we do.
Yeah, because a couple of brilliant things here. One, people feel a lot of confusion when they try to do real estate. Like, what should I do with this? How should I buy? How should I sell it? The loan to value, like how much equity is in the house, has a lot to do with it. And if the house is free and clear, you can do certain things. If the guy has no equity at all, how the hell do you buy that? So you have to know that that's huge and takes so much confusion out.
Yep.
And the other thing you said.
Well,
Hank, the other thing I almost forgot. The other thing is, you have one piece of data, and so you're looking at what the seller is saying, and you seem to know what you're doing. And we're going as rookies, like, I don't know what to do with that, because data is only as good as you can compare it with something else. How much money did you make? $1,000. Yeah, but how much are your bills? $2,000. You're screwed. Oh, or $500. You're fine. So the data of what you can buy it for, or what they're asking for, has to be compared to what you can do to sell it. Right. Now, it's easy if you're selling pencils. They sell for 10 cents. You buy them for 5. Expenses are 2. You make 3 cents. But a house has a lot of moving parts, and there's, the duration, the payment, and the overall price, and there's a few things to do. But it's the same idea. But you have to compare what you're buying, what you're selling, and you would know that in your head. You would just know that and not say anything about that, because you just know it in your head. And we're going, how does he know what he's doing?
Right.
And we feel lost, but we don't want to say anything.
It took me a long time to figure that out, because I didn't see that. I didn't see it that way, right?
It's happening automatically in your head. And you go, how come you guys don't see that? Because I don't know. We don't know how much it's going to sell for. We're kind of new at this. It's not that hard. We just don't know. But it doesn't take too hard to get to that point. You just have to think about it. Well, what would it sell for? You look around, 2-3 minutes later, Right. And so so a couple of real big beauties there with how the system is put together.
That's awesome. So to achieve big results with confidence and certainty, you need guided, consistent, and persistent action. So you don't need action. You need guided, consistent, and persistent action. This consistency represents and demonstrates a keen sense of responsibility and work ethic, which, by the way, will attract everything you will ever need for the mission at hand, including financial freedom. So by having this movie playing in your head, by knocking out the distractions and keeping away from the drama and the noise, and consistently and persistently taking the actions or the next step you need to do to get that movie fulfilled in the physical universe is what will be is total responsibility, and it's a good work ethic that will attract everything that you need. Realize in life there's nothing you have to do. Everything comes down to what you want to do. In life, there is nothing you have to do. Their saying is you got to pay taxes and die. That's a joke. You don't even have to pay taxes. I mean, you could live tax-free if you want. Okay, so the point is there is nothing in life you have to do. Nothing. What you decide is what you want to do. Right? And decisive decisions is your compass for this treasure.
Jeez, that's so many people feel they're just being shoved through life. I'm not naming any names either. They're just shoved through life.
Yeah.
And I think part of it is because they're not doing what you're saying, like decide what you want.
Decide is one thing, but you gotta mock up that movie in your head, and you have to play it over and over and over and over again. This is no different than the football player on the NFL field. He had to do that play over and over, because here's what happens. When you practice that much, it becomes innate. It becomes just natural that it just happens.
Mm-hmm.
We're almost out of time, and I got 3 more pages of notes. So,
whoa.
What about setbacks? The test of life or your failures are not meant to break you, but instead to help make you. We talked about in the last podcast, the last 2 podcasts, right? Which was 306 and 307.
Yeah.
Right? We talked about the pro versus the amateur, and the pro realizes that fear never goes away. He needs to embrace it, where the amateur is just trying to get rid of fear. Well, fear never goes away, right? So these sudden or unexpected reversals in function, I'm going to say that again. These sudden or unexpected reversals in fortune cannot be savored and used to give you unless you turn them into lessons.
Yep.
So what happens is you have to, the only way you can get rid of fear is to take the failures and turn them into lessons. If you don't turn them into a lesson, these failures will be the channel in your mind playing from the past, and will only cause a stop.
Yep.
If you turn to a lesson, if you turn it into a lesson, it will propel you to try it again and test what you have learned from a sudden or unexpected reversal in fortune. Change the channel in your mind and get out of the past.
Yeah.
And focus on the future. This will allow you to embrace the fear and not try to remove it before you move on. I'm going to also tell you one of the strongest pieces of advice is from the Dan Sullivan book I was just talking about, Who Not How. If you do too much focus on do instead of who, you'll never figure it out. See, I was telling you I'm doing this new partnership, and I was going through it in my mind, and I'm thinking, yeah, the money's going to be good, I think, just because of the way that the partnership's coming together. But it's like I put that aside because it's like I'm not even worried about that. I know how to make money. I'll figure that out. What's going to be good is working with these other people and watching them work. because they're the who's that I've been looking for. So the reward is going to be how they do the marketing, because I know they're doing good marketing because this software is doing phenomenal. It's already doing phenomenal. It's been around for 2 or 3 years, and it's the number one software in the real estate industry. Right?
That's right.
So I'm curious to know, how is he doing it?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So my failures will go away because I have the right who around me but just by doing their job will teach me how to go through my failures.
Right, and vice versa. It's like a mastermind in the sense of not just one smart ass in the room, but you have 4 smart people in the room who are good in their field. It's not, you don't have Elvis, you got the Beatles.
Right.
You got four. I just saw this Elvis movie with Nixon last night. It was funny. But he was a loner. He had his team, but he was it. Instead of having 4 people, or like a good organization with 7 sharp people in the meeting room, it's different.
That's a great analogy. So let's move on. It is not what happens to you in life, but instead what you do about it that counts.
Yeah.
This mindset will only cultivate success. My last point, these ideas will make you rich. The new 7-part creative real estate series, the strategies that I just told you about that are in the link. The link is in the description of this video or podcast. These new 7 basic the strategies are not new, but the way I explain them are new.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, are the mindset that you should have. Those should be the movie you're playing in your head. Those should be the ideas you're concentrating on, right? The link's in the description, like I said, to the podcast, and they will set you free if you apply them. They are actively game changers depending on how you use them. So why is it that I use these and Peter uses these and my partner Sean used these and we're doing deals and you aren't? It's not what happens to you, but instead what you do about it that counts. Mm-hmm. This mindset will only cultivate success. Ideas will make you rich. I created this 7 deal strategy and showed you how to use it. Your ideas of how you're going to implement it is what's going to make you rich. Mm. My question now is, are you easily distracted, or are you just down outright lazy? Why aren't you doing it? Are you easily distracted with life? Somebody else is turning your movie off or changing your channel in your head for you. Mm. Your daughter comes along and says she's got this dramatic, like, you got to go pick up Max from school because, and then all of a sudden I'm walking away from my desk and I lose an hour of my day to help my daughter. Now, helping my daughter is important, but how many times can that happen in the course of a day or a week where it blows up your picture? How important really is it? See, what you're doing is you're allowing too many non-important things. Those are minor thoughts, not the major thoughts. Mm-hmm. Right? You're allowing too many of those minor thoughts to control your major thoughts. You're allowing life to live you instead of you living life. So my question is, are you easily distracted by all that stuff? Or are you just down outright lazy and just don't want to apply? Right? Money flows to those who attract it. Pro survival ideas do that. If you're always focused on creating more value, whatever it takes, you will succeed. Look at Apple Computer. Look at Zoom during the pandemic. Look at Amazon. Amazon made, you know how Amazon made all their fortune? Prime and free shipping. Why is that? They created more value.
Yeah.
As I talked about earlier, the very last thing we're going to talk about, we'll be out here in a couple minutes, satisfaction. Satisfaction. With one person, it might be from amassing wealth. With another, it might come from writing a poem or a song. Success and satisfaction is meant to be enjoyed. And that part of the formula, a lot of us entrepreneurs don't use. We don't go enjoy our success. We want more. Success and satisfaction is meant to be enjoyed, nothing else. I believe this is a basic spiritual event when it happens. Now, maybe you only let the light shine on you in satisfaction for a day or two, but you do need to take the satisfaction as a win. That is your morale booster. So I leave you on this question only today. In your creative real estate system, most are too focused on their own satisfaction. What are they going to get out of the real estate, creative real estate activity? What would happen if you ran a movie in your mind and constantly focused on satisfying your seller, your lender, your buyer, all while you meet your own satisfying moments? Do you think this pro-survival thinking would provide you with more than you can ever hope for in life? Ask yourself this question over and over again until you get a clear image of it, a clear picture of it. And you will fall right in the bucket of purpose of why you're doing it. And it will run your engines forever. And that's my promise to you today.
You know, you've said that many times, and I've listened and I said, oh, yeah, I do that. But the way you're saying it today, I have a few people in mind that we're working with. And I'm thinking, am I asking them questions that'll help them or ultimately help me? And it's still more to me.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm going to get in real estate to help other people. No, I'm going to get in real estate to make money, period. But you find along the line that you have to help people. So that made me think, how can I really talk to people and ask them the right questions to see if I really can help them? Not just say it, but really do it.
You watch me do it all the time. You watch me do it with my sellers, with my buyers, with my lenders. Believe it or not, there's people out there that want to lend money to you for real estate the way you're doing it, and it helps them a lot.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I have one of my private lenders that actually, I have a loan with them. And, well, I don't have the loan anymore. I had a loan with them, and they lived off of the proceeds. I sent them a check every month, and they paid their rent and their utilities with it.
Oh. So they miss you.
Yeah, well, yeah. Anyways, so we're way over time here. So thank you for listening to us today. Thank you for all your support. Please go to Flipping Houses for Rookies and leave us a testimonial, or like us, or subscribe to the channel. So when we're in action, you can see us and hear us. And if you have any personal questions or any comments, you can send them to the support on Flipping Houses for Rookie on the top right-hand side. So over and out. We'll talk to you on episode number 309. Have a good week.